Happy Wednesday! I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Sissy. And we're
Chrissy and Sissy.
So on today we're doing a Sunday school overview. This video really is geared towards our class, but hopefully our subscribers can enjoy this as we talk about lesson. In the future we will try to post on Tuesdays, so that way our class can study and prepare.
Okay. So this is the Sunday school lesson for Sunday, March 1st, 2020.
Yes. The title of my lesson for my class is Be Accountable. And both our lessons really are similar, but they're broken down in different age groups. You could tell the title of your lesson.
The title of my lesson is Empty Treasures.
Yes. So in today's lesson, we talk about the prophet Amos and how he proclaimed God's verdict against Israel. The prophecy of Amos was for the 10 tribes of Israel during the reign of King. This is straight off the dome, y'all. So
Uzzah
of Judah.
I said, this is how I do it. When I have words in my Sunday school class, can't pronounce it. Uzziah.
So basically during the reign of these kings, and I know this will help any Sunday school teachers out there. We just look up the names, but really more so we were not worried, but focus on the content. So basically in a nutshell, 1 through 4, it talks about how the prophet pronounces God's judgment on the surrounding kingdoms, and how these different nations were not even worshiping God. And I think it's going to be real amazing when we talk about the people of Israel, because we've kind of been telling them like, yeah, they did wrong and they backslid, and so now they get to see actual proof, and then we actually have a prophet coming forth. And it says that in chapter 5 of Amos, this is where the lesson turns and talks about, and what the lesson is focused on, and how Amos turns his focus to God's people. We go through the scriptures, which we will without Sunday school, but it talks about being accountable. Basically, when nobody is around, how are you going to act? So with the people of Israel, just because God did so many amazing things for you all, okay, and he's not physically telling you, hey, don't do this, you already know it's wrong, you still held accountable. And so we have to be accountable. I know the lesson brings out Dr. Martin Luther King. It also talks about bullying and how to be an upstander. And I remember teaching my class that being an upstander and not a bystander. When you see people doing wrong, or when you see others doing wrong, are you going to stand up for them? Are you going to stand up for what is right? It says, the acronym for bully, it has be kind, Ephesians 4:32. Understand the Lord's will, Ephesians 5:16-17. L, love the Lord, Deuteronomy 6:5. L, love each other, John 13:34-35. And Y, youth, even when you're young, be an example, 1 Timothy 4:12.
I like that. That tells you how to transform a bully. Basically about just being a light, being an example. I really like that.
Because I think
that's a t-shirt, sis. You know me. Anything is a t-shirt, baby.
So what you want to bring out for your lesson?
I think what I would like to bring out is, let's read the memory verse. Our memory verse is Amos 5:24, and it says, but let judgment run down as water, and righteousness as a mighty stream. So basically what I would like to pull from that is when it says let judgment run down as water, just let it if you know anything like a duck, if you've ever seen like a duck dip down in the water, when he comes up, the water just like rolls off of him. There's no judgment. There's no room for criticism, because none of us are perfect. None of us have made it. We all have fallen short of God's glory. So just being accountable for your actions. Um, and if you do something that's wrong, it's nothing. It's okay to admit that I did this. I'm sorry. I'm going to do better. But what's not okay is to know that you've done something and then I'm going to criticize my sister because she has done something. The Word of God teaches us that there's no big or little sin.
Mm-hmm.
So, regardless of what the situation is, it's no room for us to point fingers at another person. It's always good to be accountable, and accountable just simply means taking the responsibility for your actions. I'm just gonna take the responsibility for it. I'm gonna own it. It's my mess. I did it. I stepped into it, and it's really only you and God know what's going on with you, and it's gonna take God to get you out of or to deliver you from whatever situation that you're in. There are many things that I've gone through, many things that I've done. But those that know me, I never when the children are when you're around me, it's a judgment free zone. I never judge you. I will correct you in love and I will tell you right from wrong, but I'm not going to condemn you and I'm going to yet love you right where you are.
Verse and reading the adult lesson, because we got like 3 lessons out here right now,
3.
and reading the adult lesson, and sometimes the adult lesson can go a little bit deeper. But I thought about, okay, who's going to be Amos? Who's going to be him? Who's going to be that? Because, okay, being accountable, but when you know right, because you got to look at, in the adult lesson, they bring out, okay, looking at it from the eyes of Amos. I mean, he's a prophet. He knows right, this is his charge to tell the people. And, and being accountable, if I see wrong, and let's not really talk about how, you tell people. I have to look this way now because I'm on a different side. But, who's going to be Amos and be that upstander and not a bystander? This is almost like a sister talk moment, but I do this with my class and bring out my personal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to do it in a way of love. I think about one of my friends and how when I see, or any of my friends, when I see them going down the wrong path, I get very upset with them, and the more I see them keep going down that path, it turns into, why are you doing that? Doing that? Mm-mm. I don't need to point fingers or anything, and it's a way I could tell them in love. And, but at least tell them, because, if you have a charge to tell somebody something, I think about another situation too, but, it's your responsibility. You're accountable for that. Just like I think about a pastor is accountable for our souls. If a pastor just sits there and let, his members do what they want to and not warn them, as such as Amos warning them, then when he has to give an account to God, God's going to say things, or her, to him or her, you let such and such do this, and you knew they was doing this. So I think about that also and being accountable. And I like the fact that I love when we can bring a lesson back and talk about our leader and what our leader goes through, and then also talk about, okay, what you can do, and then also talk about, okay, how can I use this as a witnessing tool? Because I'm really big on witnessing, and we're not just going to keep the Bible to ourselves, but we're going to spread the gospel.
Right. And that's kind of in the lesson. Yep. In the lesson, it's basically talking about, like we've already said, that Amos was a prophet. But one thing that it says that I just want to just pull out real quick, it says, God called him to be a prophet to warn the northern kingdom of coming judgment. So again, looking at it from this standpoint, God called Amos to hold his friend accountable for his action. So now, not as teenagers and preteens, we have to sometimes go to our best friend and hold our best friend accountable for their actions. If you're in church, this is somebody that worships with you, and you're in the same school with them, or even if you worship with them and you're holding a conversation with them on the phone, and you know that, hey, we worship together, so we've been taught better, so you want to get involved with this group. Now, is that the right thing to do? What would God say? How would God feel? Are we letting God down if we do what we're doing? And that's, you're going to them in a non-judgmental way, but in a loving way, to say, now wait a minute, do we really need to do that? Do we really need to act that way? Or if it's after the fact, if they've gotten into an argument or a fight with somebody, if they was disrespectful at school, and you witnessed that, not even at school, church, any type of outings, anytime that you're around them, if they was disrespectful, afterward, just pull them to the side and say, hey, you was kind of rude, don't you think? You kind of need to check that. You're making them be accountable for their actions. And then you say, now you just think about that. Do you think that you owe your best friend an apology for the way that you acted yesterday? Did you have to talk to your best friend the way you did? So you're kind of like holding them accountable, and then they give them time to like think about it, and then they can go back and call them up, or the next time they see them, they can apologize for that. So you're kind of like holding them accountable, and that's what it just like jumped. I just saw that on there. So God asked him, Amos, hey, go hold them accountable for their actions. Kind of remind them, kind of let them see what's going on. And
I know that
what
one point it says right here about the image of justice rolling down like waters.
mm-hmm.
What that clarifies what
Mm-hmm.
God intended to say. And the book says the lesson says believers are to express genuine worship and live a just life before God, that they may be a light to the world. So even though people are going to have different interpretations, like one concrete answer we can look at is that we are to express genuine worship. And it goes back to what she's saying. It's not about, calling somebody out on their wrong because they're not doing right. What's genuine? And let's talk about genuine worship. And it's not, I'm just trying to get one over on you, because it's about turning into a sister talk.
Mm-hmm.
But, just in thinking about that and making sure that we're living a life that's pleasing to God. This was a great warning.
Great warning.
But just being accountable, and I'm gonna encourage my class. Okay, how can you be accountable in your lives? I hope my class, as you're watching, as you're studying, and you think about, okay, when I go to school and I see wrong being done, how am I going to handle that? How am I going to approach that? Or how is it when it's your friend that is doing it? So that's all I have to say for my class, because I'm excited, because now we can get to class and actually have a conversation and still review. I had to remind y'all that.
Still review.
But yes, but being accountable. The adult list says call to accountability, and then your lesson says empty treasures, which is so cute.
Empty treasures. And what's empty treasures? If we think about that right there speaks volumes. We're putting all of our hopes and all our dreams into something that's not going to amount to anything. We're not going to profit from it. It's not going to grow. It's not going to expand. We're going to grow up, and we're going to realize, hey, I wasted all my time doing this. I wasted all my time being a bully. I wasted all my time talking about that girl in the back of the class that didn't look like me, that didn't dress like me, that didn't smell like me. I wasted all my time doing that when I could have been doing something else, when I could have been working with the missions to organize a yard sale, or getting a box together of clothes that I can't wear, and not doing it at school and openly, but saying to my mom, hey mom, can you drive me by so-and-so house so I can give her these clothes that's too small for me? So we're going to realize that things that we think is valuable and things that mean so much to us now, that once we grow up, that it's just empty. It didn't amount to nothing. So I think there's a scripture that says, lay up your treasure, store up your treasure in heaven. Is it something that's to that?
Or a new one. We have to research that.
Oh, she said I brought a new one. So
a new one. And so my Sunday school class, get to studying, get to reading. I want to make sure you all know we're
she's
coming from Amos
Sunday school class.
5:18 through 24. Verses 18 to 24 of chapter 5 of Amos. Read New Living Translation, any version.
That NCV version is one that I would recommend. That NCV or the Message version.
Yes, y'all get to studying, so we get to class and have a great conversation. That is all.
And that's all.
For me.
I want them to memorize the memory verse.
And the memory verse is?
And the memory verse is, I told you what the memory verse is. It's Amos 5:24.
So remember the memory verse. You have no excuse. All right, so that's all I have to say. I'm going to just wish them
a good night.
All right, I'm going to wish that it may not be good night when they watch me.
Oh.
But happy studying.
Happy studying. Have a great day.